Hi friends, I am going to speak about in today's topic on the lecture of Supreme Court of India. The Indian judiciary system is divided into three tiers: district courts, high courts and the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of India is the highest official judiciary body and the final court for appeals. The Supreme Court is said to be the guardian of justice in India. The composition and the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court have been laid down in Articles 124 to 147 of the Indian Constitution. It was established on 1st October 1937 as the Federal Court of India and renamed as the Supreme Court of India on 26 January 1950 when the Constitution was validated. The Supreme Court is located at New Delhi. The Supreme Court of India stands for truth only, and the motto of the court is where there is a truth, there is a victory. The judgment given by the Supreme Court is final and binding. As per Article 142 of the Constitution, the President shall make sure that the final order given by the Supreme Court is enforced. The Chief Justice, along with the President, appoints the judges. The person should have been a judge of a high court or two or more such courts in succession for a minimum of 5 years. The person should have been an advocate of a high court or two or more such courts for a minimum of 10 years. When the conditions are fulfilled, the president decides the jurist. There are powers of the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court takes care that every citizen is ensured his or her fundamental rights. The Supreme Court is said to be court of the final jurisdiction, and it looks into the following. There are original jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction means the cases that have been or can be brought directly to the Supreme Court. This case arises when there is a conflict between state and central governments. There is a conflict between different states' government. Any enforcement of fundamental rights is required. Appellate jurisdiction is also available in a Supreme Court. This jurisdiction is for appeals. When the aggrieved party is not satisfied with the jurisdiction of the High Court, it can appeal to the Supreme Court, and the decision of the Supreme Court shall be final. In criminal cases, the accused can make an appeal to the Supreme Court if death sentence order has been passed by the High Court. Advisory jurisdiction is the Supreme Court plays the role of an advisor for the President as and when required by him. In addition to the above, the Supreme Court makes sure that any law passed by the Government of India is not beyond the scope of its constitution and has the power to declare any law unconstitutional. In cases that involve human rights violation, the Supreme Court also looks into with writ petitioners. Some remarkable judgments passed by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has passed some remarkable judgments. Some of the recent include the ban on VIP lights on cars, giving recognition to the transgender, making the triple talaq unconstitutional, death sentence for Nirbhaya culprits. The conclusion on the Supreme Court is this: the Supreme Court of India is the supreme body for maintenance of justice and law and order in the country. It acts as a watchdog and is the strongest pillar of the Indian judicial system. It is the Supreme Court which has kept our faith in law alive. Justice shall be served always.